Okay. Okay, here we go. And mute everybody. You're all muted already. All right, I think we got everything. Let me just make sure that we are streaming. Whoops. I think I had some problems. I got to double check on it. Nope, we're streaming. Okay. We'll check. Okay, it's working. Alrighty. Here we go. Let's go to music. Music maestro. Okay, what are we going to chat today? Bulakas Shagarir Ariate Bulite Nayane Babinir Goranga Bulite Abe Bulakas Shagarir Ariate Bulite Chandera Corona Be Samsara Bashana Mora Kabi to Jaibe Arakabinitai Chandera Corona Oibe Samsara Bashana Mora coming to Jaibe Vishaya Chatiya Kabe Shudabe Mana Kabe Amai Rabushi Vrindavanava Vishaya Chatiya Kabe Shudabe Mana Kabe Amai Rabushi Vrindavanava Ruba Lagunatapane Oibea Hakuti Kabea Mabuja Bose Yugalabiriti Rupa Kabe ama Ujabo say Yugana Repiriti Rupa Raghunatha Pale Rahomora Asha Pratana Kore Sada Narotamudas Rupa Raghunatha Pale Rahomora Asha Pratana Kore Sada Narotamudas Noranga Itayame Pulakasharigir Adihate Urite Nayane Babenir Uranga Itayame Pulakasharir Adi ade purite nayane babidir Ari ade purite nayane babidir Ari ade purite nayane babidir Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Gaur Hari, Mo Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parapadikacharya Also Teta Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrind Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shitway Gadad Shivasati Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Mathura Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Kajaya Munamaya Kajaya Shrimad Galasa Devi Kajaya Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Kajaya Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Guru Gauranga Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Samaniti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurmani Pajani Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshakarna. So let me read the translation. When will that opportune moment come to me when I shiver upon chanting the name of Lord Gauranga? When will I cry while chanting Hare Krishna? When will I receive the causeless mercy of Lord Nityananda so that my desires for material enjoyment become insignificant? When will my mind be purified of material anxieties and desires so that I can understand Vrindavana? When shall I be very eager to study the books left by the six Goswamis so that I can understand the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna? The lotus feet of the six Goswamis are my only shelter. In constant separation from them, I remain Naratamadas. Naratamadas. Thakur Ki Jai. So now we will continue with our study of the Chaitanya Bhagavat by Vrindavan Das Thakur. So, Om Gana Timidanda Shah Gananjana Shlakya Chakshur and Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, so now we're going to share the screen and we'll go to the Caitanya Bhagavat. And we've been reading the last few days, or last day or so, about Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's scholastic activities, his prideful scholastic activities. Oh, okay. Actually, I need to do this. Let me just repeat, because I just turned my special recorder on. So, we've been reading the last few days about Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's scholastic, prideful activities. In fact, he upset Mukunda a lot because he told Mukunda that I'm going to be such a great devotee, even Lord Brahma and Shiva are going to worship me. Just wait. Oh my God. And he was challenging everybody. And the Dvaitacharya was feeling a lot of anxiety because basically he couldn't see too many devotees in the Navadvipa area. Everybody was engaged in their family affairs and their samskaras, this samskara and samskara. There's actually something like 100 samskaras if you want to do them all. It means your whole life you'd just be doing samskaras and you never get onto your actual life. I mean, samskaras are good, but the primary samskara we have is the chanting of what? Krishna's name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And the reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna Katha, etc. But everything else is secondary to that particular samskara. But we got so entangled in different rituals. I remember when I was young, I had one samskara when I was 13. Ooh. Sweet 13. No. Anyway, I won't tell you what it was. I had one samskara. And, there was some God, we gave some credit to God. Okay, God, you were great. Anyway, we had a service in the temple. But then the rest of it was just party. And nothing about God. Just about rituals during the party. Nothing. God was absent. Just rituals. And dancing. Boys and girls dancing. Can you imagine? It's not like in a Hare Krishna temple the boys and girls dance, but they dance separately. But in my samskara, the boys and girls had to dance with each other. Yuck. Yucky. And then, and even I had to dance with my mother and grandmother. Oh my God, what a samskara. So you may say, well, that's not Indian culture. Well, Indian culture just has a different set of parties. And the music's probably a little louder. Burst your eardrums. Right now on the GBC, we're discussing how to tone down the volume of the kirtans. And we've arrived at the conclusion it's impossible. Some devotees are saying you should just hand out earplugs in the temple before people come, when they're at the door, of course. Other people are saying you should put a decibel meter on there. We had a decibel meter here, and someone just ripped it off because they were afraid of being criticized for chanting at 120 decibels, which would get you arrested in the workplace. Anyway, okay, enough advertisement from your sponsor, me. So let's continue with the Caitanya Bhagavat. All right, so here is Advaita Charya getting really upset with all the non-devotional stuff going on in Navadvipa. And he says, Krishna is going to appear. He says, my Lord who carries a chakra is coming. Then you will see what happened to Nadia. In other words, he knew that the Lord was coming. Didn't know exactly how the Lord would come. So it says, Shri Advaita Prabhu began to tell the Vaishnavas who had approached him for remedies that his worshipful Lord Vishnu, who holds the Sudarshana chakra, is coming to Navadvipa soon. By him, the ignorance of the fools would be destroyed. Karaimu Krishna Sarva Nayana Gochara Tabi Sayadvaita Nama Krishnara Kinkara. I will make Krishna appear before the eyes of all. Then this person, named Advaita, will be known as the servant of Krishna. So Advaitacharya is referring to himself in the third person. This person, that person. So, whoops. I think let's just go to the next verse. Aradina katakia takabai sabha etai dekiba sava krishnanubhava. Please wait a few more days, my dear brothers, and you will see Krishna right here. Okay. Advaitera Shuni Bhagavata Gana Dukkha Pasarya Sabe Karena Kirtana. After hearing the words of Advaita, all the devotees forgot their distress and began kirtan. Of course, during kirtan, Krishna manifests himself. And so does Radharani. And so does the spiritual world. If you think you're still in the material world during kirtan, that means you are not hearing properly with your heart. Ritkarna Rasayana Kata. You're hearing with your mundane ears, or listening with your mundane ears. So you have to let the sound vibration actually go right to your heart. Actually, no mind in between the ear and the heart. Doesn't have to be a mind, just go directly to the heart. Then you will actually experience Krishna's presence. Utila Krishnera Nama Panama Mangala Dvaita Sahita Sabe Hailavi Vala. As the auspicious sound of Krishna's names arose, Advaita and the other devotees became overwhelmed. Because Krishna is not different from his holy names. Vaisandhyaravakya Jwala Savagela Dura Ematapula Kita Navadvipa Pura. The pains caused by the atheist's abusive words were mitigated as the city of Navadvipa became filled with ecstasy. Even the atheists had to experience some ecstasy. Adhyayana Sukhe Prabhu Vishwambara Raya Niravadi Jananira Ananda Badhaya. Lord Vishwambara happily passed his days in study and always increased the joy of Mother Sachi. Hena Kale Navadvipe Sri Ishwara Puri Ailena Ati Alakshita Vesha Dadi. In the meantime, Sri Ishwara Puri came in disguise to Navadvipa. In other words, he came dressed as an Eka Dandi Sannyasi. Krishna Rase Parama Vivala Mahashaya Ekanta Krishna Rapiya Atidoya Maya. He was overwhelmed with love for Krishna. He was most merciful and dear to Lord Krishna. Tanaveshe Tanekeha Chinitena Pare Daivekia Utilena Advaita Mandire. Wearing that dress, no one could recognize him as he arrived by providence at the house of Advaita. Yekane Advaita Seva Kadena Vasya Samukhe Vasila Bada Sankuchitaya. He humbly sat down close to where Advaita Prabhu was performing his puja. Vaishnavera Teja Vaishnavetena Lukaya Puna Puna Advaita Tahana Panechaya. The effulgence of a Vaishnava cannot be hidden from another Vaishnava, and therefore Advaita Prabhu looked at him again and again. And sometimes you actually see that the effulgence of a Vaishnava cannot be hidden even from someone who's not a Vaishnava. Like there's this story when Prabhupada was in New York in the early days. Some person looked at him and said, "That man is glowing!" And of course Prabhupada was always glowing. So let me just adjust the sound on this so it's louder. Audio settings. Yeah. Okay, that's better. That man is glowing. So devotees glow. And people can see devotees are not the same as anyone else. Even if the devotees are dressed in Western clothes with a disguise and a wig and a mustache. So it could not be hidden from Advaita Acharya. So Advaita Bolena Bapa Tumi Konjana Vaishnava Sannyasi Tumi Hena Laya Mana. Advaita then said, "Dear Prabhu, who are you? I think you are a Vaishnava sannyasi." There's different types of sannyasis as being described here. There are karmi sannyasis. There are Mayavadi sannyasis. There are tantric sannyasis. And of course, Advaita Acharya was also initiated by Sripad Madhavendra Puri, who was the guru of Ishwara Puri. Bolena Ishwara Puri, Amis Shudra Dama, Deki Bharya Dhana Tumara Chandana. Ishwara Puri replied, "I am lower than a Shudra. I have come here simply to see your lotus feet." That's humility. Long purports here. Vujya Mukunda Eka Krishnara Charita Gaite Lagila Ati Premera Sahita. Understanding the situation, Mukunda began to sing a song about Krishna with great devotion. Ye matra shunila Mukundera Gite Padila Ishwara Puri Dalhi Viti Vite. Wait, the internet connection is having a fit right now. Just let it. Okay, it's better. As the sound of Mukunda's singing entered his ears, Sri Ishwara Puri fell to the ground. So this is, of course, a type of ecstasy or bhava called Sanchari bhava. Sanchari means it just goes all over the body and you can't control it at all. Nayanera jalayanta nahika tahana puna puna bade prema daraya pahana. Incessant tears flowed from his eyes, and the waves of his love increased again and again. So aste vyaste advaita tulila nijakole sinchitakaila anga nayanera jale. Advaita Prabhu hastily took him in his arms, and his entire body became wet with tears. Samvarananahi prema puna puna bade santoshe mukunda uchakari shloka pade. The symptoms of ecstatic love continued to increase rather than diminish as Mukunda began to loudly recite appropriate verses. Dekya Vaishnava Sabha Premera Vikara Atula Nandamane Janmila Sabhara. The Vaishnavas' hearts were filled with incomparable happiness as they saw their transformations of ecstatic love. Wow. Pache sabe chini lena shi Ishwara Puri prema deki sabe sanade hari hari. Later, when they learned that he was Ishwara Puri, the devotees all remembered Lord Hari. Emata Ishwara Puri Navadvipa Pure Alakshite Bulena Chinite Keha Nare. This way, as Advaita Puri wandered about Navadvipa in disguise, no one was able to recognize him. Daive Ekadine Prabhu Sri Gora Sundara Padaya Asena Apanara Gara Pate Deka Haila Ishwari Puri Sane Bricha Deki Prabhu Namaskarila Apane. One day, as Sri Gaurasundar was returning home from school, Providence, he met Sri Ishwara Puri. Seeing his eternal servant, the Lord offered him obeisances. So that's the etiquette of householders to offer respects to members of the renounced order of life, and is prescribed in the Dharma Shastras. As a Grahastha Brahmana, Sri Gaura Sundara duly offered obeisances to the Vaishnava sannyasi. Although Sri Gaura Sundara is the Lord of the 14 worlds, and although later enacted the pastime of accepting initiation from Ishwara Puri, in reality Ishwara Puri was the servant of Sri Gaura Sundara. Ati Anirvachaniya Thakura Sundara Sarvamate Sarva Vilakshana Gudara. Personal beauty is indescribable. He was the reservoir of all extraordinary qualities. Yadyapi yatahana marmakeha nahi jane tatapi sadvusakare deki savajane. Although people did not know his real identity, they nevertheless had great respect for him. Chahina Ishwara Puri Prabhura Sharira Sira Puruchera Praya Parma Gambira. Of course, the word Gambira means grave, and Parama means exalted. When Ishwara Puri saw Nimai's features, he could understand that Nimai was a most grave and exalted personality. So the word Siddha Purushera Praya mean equal to a Mahabhagavat. So, Siddha Purusha. Yasena Tamara Ki Nama Vipra Vara Ki Puti Padao Pada Konstane Gara. Ishwara Puri inquired, O best of the Brahmanas, what is your name? What are you studying and teaching, and where do you live? Sheshe Sabe Bodhi Lena Nimai Pandita Tumi Se Baliabada Haila Hara Shita. When the others replied, he is Nimai Pandit, Ishwara Puri joyfully said, So, you are Nimai. Bhiksha Nimantrana Prabhu Karilena Tane Mahadari Grihelai Chalila Apane. The Lord invited Ishwara Puri for lunch and then respectfully brought him home. So it's the duty of the household Brahmanas to invite Vaishnava sannyasis to their homes for lunch or dinner. Therefore, as an ideal household of Brahman, Gaurasundara invited Sri Puripad to his house for lunch. Krishnera Naivedyas Shachi Karilena Giha Bhikshakari Vishnugrihe Vasila Asya. Mother Sachi prepared an offering for Krishna, and after honoring the prasad, Ishwara Puri sat in the temple room. After honoring Krishna prasad that had been cooked by Shachi, Ishwara Puripad sat in the temple room of Shachi's house. Krishnara prastavat sava kahite lagila kahite Krishnara kata avashahela. Thereafter, Ishwara Puri became fully absorbed while describing topics of Lord Krishna. While discussing topics of Krishna, Ishwara Puri's spiritual senses became almost inert, because they stopped functioning. He became intoxicated in the service of the Lord as if he were directly situated in the spiritual world. the subtle and gross designations of conditioned souls who are averse to the Lord are obstacles on the path of realizing the kingdom of Vaikuntha. By discussing topics of Hari, such obstacles are surpassed. Apurva premera dara dekya santosha na prakashe apana lokera dina dosha. The Lord was satisfied to see his unprecedented symptoms of love, which he did not disclose due to people's misfortune of position. Masa kata gopinata cheriera gare rahila Ishwara Puri Navadvipa Pure. Ishwara Puri stayed for a few months in Navadvipa at the home of Gopinathacharya. So Gopinathacharya, of course, is described. He was a resident in Navadvipa. He was the son-in-law of Maheshwara Sharada, who lived in Vijayanagara, and the brother-in-law of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Madhusudana Vachaspati. In the opinion of some, he was an incarnation of Lord Brahma. So the Gauragana Dashtipika says Gopinathacharya was the incarnation of Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe. He was one of the Navavyuhas and knower of the Tantras. In the opinion of others, he was Ratnavali Sakhi of Braja. As stated in the Gauragana Dashtipika, Ratnavali, the Pranasakhi of Braja, has now appeared as the pure learned Gopinathacharya. Since Puripad came in the disciplic succession of the senior Vaishnava Sri Madhva Muni, he is included in the Brahma Sampradaya, which is one of the 4 authorized sampradayas. As a subordinate, Vaishnava lives in the home of his guru. Puripad lived a few months in Navadvipa in the house of Gopinath Bhattacharya, the incarnation of Lord Brahma. Well, that's interesting. Okay, I'll explain what's happening here. That if Gopinathacharya was considered to be Bhattacharya, not Acharya, Bhattacharya, and also Gopinath Acharya, who's the same person, who's considered to be the incarnation of Lord Brahma is the spiritual master of Narada Muni, and going down through the disciplic succession, you find Madhavendra Puri in that same disciplic succession, and Puripad Ishwara Puri took initiation from Madhavendra Puri. So Lord Brahma is the great, and forgive me if I don't get all the greats, grandfather, spiritual grandfather of Ishwara Puri. And so Lord Brahma is none different than Gopinath Bhattacharya. So Ishwara Puri was staying a few months in the house of his great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, even though he didn't know that. Sabibada hula sita dekite tahane Prabhu dekite nicha chelena pane. Everyone was overjoyed to see him, and the Lord would regularly go to visit him. Gadadara panditera deki prema jala vada prite vase tane vaishnava sakala. Seeing Gadadhar Pandit's tears of love, all the Vaishnavas felt great affection for him. Shishu haite samsare virata bara mane Ishwara Puri o sneha karena tahane. As he was detached from worldly life since childhood, Ishwara Puri also felt similar affection for him. So Ishwara Puri had a very close relationship with Gadadhar Pandit. So Gadadhar Panditera Apanara Krita Punti Padayena Nama Krishna Lilamrita. He had Gadadhar Pandit study a book that he had written named Krishna Lilamrita. So he was very affectionate to Gadadhar Pandit. Padaya Padiya Thakur Sanja Kale Ishwara Purira Namaskira Kari Bhare Chale. After studying and teaching, the Lord went in the evening to offer his obeisances to Ishwara Puri. Prabhu Deki Sri Ishwara Puri Harashita Prabhu Hena Na Janena Tabu Bada Prita. Ishwara Puri was happy to see Nimai, and though he did not know him as the Supreme Lord, he still had love for him. because he could sense it internally there that Nimad was God, was Krishna, his Krishna. Hasya bolena tumi parama pandita ami punti kariachi Krishna rachatita. Ishwara Puri smiled and said, "You are a big scholar. I've written a book about the characteristics of Lord Krishna. Sakala baliba kota take kondosha ihate amara bada parama santosha." I would be most satisfied if you would tell me if there's any fault in it. Prabhu bole bhaktavakya Krishnaravarnana ihate ye doshadeke sei papi janab. The Lord replied, "Whoever finds fault in a devotee's description of Lord Krishna is a sinful person." Bhaktera kavitva yeti mate kene naya sarvata Krishna priti tahate nischaya. Krishna is certainly pleased with his devotees' poetry, even though it is imperfectly composed. And of course, that's like that verse in the Bhagavatam, Tadva Bharga Janatagas Vipalo Yasmin Pratishlokam Abhadavatyapet Namananantasha Yasho Nikatanyatran Banti Gayati Grinanti Yat Sadava. That these words, transcendental words, are capable of creating a revolution, a spiritual revolution in the lives of the misdirected population or civilization, even if these words are improperly composed. Improperly doesn't mean according to the Siddhanta, but it means according to, let's say, English grammar or Sanskrit grammar or poetics or whatever. Murka bole Vishnaya Vishnave bole dira Dvivakya parigraha kare Krishna vira. An uneducated person may chant Vishnaya, while a sober person will chant the proper form, Vishnave. But the Supreme Lord Krishna will accept both forms when they are chanted with devotion. In other words, sometimes we're preaching in countries where they really can't pronounce the holy name. I mean, sometimes even in Latin America here, Hare Krishna. And in China you may hear Hare Krishna. So one may say, "Oh, they're not chanting properly. Okay, no benefit." No, Krishna understands. Krishna understands. He's a person. He's not a ritual. So even if you make some mistakes in the ritual, but if your intention is good, then Krishna understands. But in karma kanda rituals, if you make some error, let's say you're trying to create a devotee. He has some karma kanda ritual. Or you want to create, let's say, a powerful person, and you just pronounce one word a little bit off, then you'll actually get someone who's decrepit. To Lord Krishna, a pandit expert in correct language and someone ignorant in correct language are both equal. So it's devotion, bhakti-mam, abhijanati. Morka varati vishnaya, diro varati vishnave, ubayastu samam punyam, bhavagrahi janardana. Whoops, sorry, I skipped that. Let me go back to that verse. At the time of offering obeisance to Lord Vishnu, a foolish person chants Vishnaya Namaha. This is improper due to faulty grammar. And a learned person chants Vishnave Namaha. This is the correct form. But both achieve equal piety by their offering obeisances because Lord Sri Janardana, the Lord of the living beings, sees the sentiment of the living being. In other words, he sees the degree of devotion. In other words, he awards the result accordingly. He does not see one's foolishness or intelligence. So there's hope for all of us. That's right. Bhakti-mam avajananti yavanyas chasmi tadvataha. Ihate dosha deke tahara se dosha bhaktera vardhanamatra krishnara santosha. One who finds fault with a devotee is himself at fault, for a devotee's descriptions are meant only for the pleasure of Krishna. Atevadamarase primera varnana ihate dushiveka kon sahasika jana. Therefore, who will dare find fault with your devotional descriptions of Krishna's pastimes? Shunya Ishwara Puri Prabhu Uttara Amrita Sinchitakaila Sarvakalevara. Hearing Nimai's reply was like a shower of nectar on the body of Ishwara Puri. Punaha si bolena tamara dosha nai avasha baliva dosha takeye tani. Oops. He then smiled and said, that's Ishwara Puri just saying that, you will not be at fault, but you must tell me if there's any error in the book. Mataprati dina prabhu tanna sange vichara karena dvichare dandarange. Thereafter Nimai would daily sit with Ishwara Puri for 1 or 2 hours to discuss his book. Wow. Ekadina prabhu tanna kavita shunya hasi dushi lena datu na lage valia prabhu bole e datu atmane pode naya Palya Chalila Prabhu Apanalaya Ishwara Puryo Sarva Shastrete Pandita Vijarasa Vichare Obada Harashita Prabhu Gele Se Datu Karena Vichara Siranta Karena Tanhi Ashesha Prakara Se Datu Karena Atmane Pati Nama Aratine Prabhu Gele Karena Vyakyana Ye Datu Paris Parasmai Pade Bali Gela Tume Tahai Sadilun Atmane Pade Ame. After hearing his poetry, one day the Lord smiled and said, the verb root of this sentence is incorrect. The Atmane Pade form should not be used here. After saying this, the Lord returned home. Ishwara Puri was a learned scholar in scriptures, and he enjoyed analyzing scholastic topics. After Nimai left, Ishwara Puri considered the verb root that he had used and came to the conclusion from many different angles. He left the verb in its Atmane Padi form, and when Nimai came the next day, he explained, I have concluded that the verb that you said yesterday should be Parasmaya Padi should remain Atmane Padi. So, okay, this is explained here. We should read this. Dhatus, the verb forms that indicate actions. When mixed with the 10 inflective clauses beginning with lat, they produce the various tenses and moods. Considering each verb in the 3 persons and the 3 numbers results in 9 forms for each tense and mood. 3 persons be 3 singular and 3 plural persons, like I, you, and whatever. So some of these, I'm not that expert in this. Some of these roots are Atmanepadi and some are Parasmayapadi, and apart from these, some are Udyapadi. The Parasmayapadi roots have 90 forms, and there are the same number of Atmanepadi forms. That's altogether 180 forms of these 2 kinds of roots. Oh my God. I guess I'll never learn Sanskrit grammar. Since Nimai Pandit said that the form of the root in the verse spoken by Ishwara Puri was not Atmanepadi, Ishwara Puri concluded that according to grammar, the form of the root was Ubhayapadi. Therefore, there was no fault in using the Atmanepadi form of the root. Okay. Vyakyana Shunya Prabhu Parama Santosha Pricha Jaya Nimita Nai Dena Ara Dosha. When the Lord heard his explanation, he was most satisfied with his servant's victory, and he did not find any further fault. So, in other words, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu was very concerned with the etiquette, because he understood, here is my spiritual master, future spiritual master. I'm not going to find fault with him. But it's interesting, when Prabhupada translated his books, the English definitely needed to be edited and proofread, and the devotees did that. So, and Prabhupada considered that a higher service than simply agreeing with everything that was there. Sarvakala Prabhu Vadayena Pracha Jaya Etana Swabhava Sakala Vede Kaya. The Vedas declare that the Lord by nature always expands his devotees' glories by making them victorious. So sometimes one has to surpass ordinary etiquette in order to render service, just like in the case of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu lying down in the Gambhira, and Govinda, his servant, was supposed to massage him, but Lord Chaitanya was lying down in the doorway of the Gambhira, and Govinda couldn't get in there to massage him, and Govinda was thinking, I can't step over the Lord, that's a great offense, but still I have to do my service, so what am I going to do? So he put a cloth over Lord Chaitanya and gently stepped over him and massaged him, and then when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came back to external consciousness, he noticed Govinda was there, but Govinda had been there for an hour or two and had not gone to take lunch as he normally did. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Why are you still here?" And he said, "I couldn't get out because you were blocking the doorway." And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "How did you get in? I was blocking the doorway before." And Govinda explained to him that I don't mind committing an offense to serve you, but for my own sense gratification, I ain't going to do it. So, Emata Kata Dina, Vijurasa Range, Achila Ishwara Puri, Gorachandra Sange. In this way, Ishwara Puri passed a few months enjoying scholastic pastimes with Sri Gora Sundara, or Gorachandra. Bhakti Rase Chanchala, Ekatra Nahi Stiti, Paryatane Chalila Pavitra Kari Kshiti. Ishwara Puri, however, would not remain in one place due to the restless nature of his ecstatic love. He thus went out on pilgrimage to purify the earth. So that's the nature of devotees. They travel to purify others. They are traveling holy places. They're tirthas. Yeshuniya Ishwara Puri Ra Punyakata Tanavasahaya Krishna Pada Padma Yata. Whoever hears the auspicious topics about Sri Ishwara Puri lives at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So now we have another blessing. We're getting so many blessings, that's why you should listen to this class. Yata prema madhavendra puri ra sharira santoshe dilena saba Ishwara Puri re paya guru ra prema Krishna ra prasade brahmana Ishwara Puri ati nir virode. Sri Madhavendra Puri happily gave the complete treasure of his ecstatic love to Sri Ishwara Puri. By the mercy of Krishna, Sri Ishwara Puri obtained love of God from his spiritual master, so he traveled free from anxieties. So the way he got that love of God was that he served his spiritual master, especially, I'm talking about physically, the Vapu with the spiritual master, especially when Madhavendra Puri was getting ready to leave this planet. And Madhavendra Puri exhibited the pastime of being basically disabled and couldn't do anything for himself physically, externally. This is a pastime. And when he did that, exhibited that pastime, then Ishwara Puri served him like a menial servant, cleaning up, cleaning him, cleaning up, and all the bodily fluids and everything like that. And so because of that, he was blessed with pure love of God. Whereas another disciple, Ramchandra Puri, he criticized his guru. He said, you should be absorbed in Brahman and not moaning and groaning. Of course, the guru, Madhavendra Puri, was moaning and groaning out of ecstasy, not out of pain. Sometimes a materialist will look at a pure devotee and think, oh, they're really suffering. But actually, those symptoms are symptoms of ecstasy. So anyway, That's why Sri Ishwara Puri got pure love of God. And that's how you can all get pure love of God, by becoming a humble servant of Srila Prabhupada, your spiritual master. It's very simple. Not by running to Vrindavan, hey, Krishna, Radharani. Because you can go to Vrindavan from time to time, but that's not how you get love of God. You get love of God by being blessed by Srila Prabhupada of the Krishna conscious movement and your spiritual master who's given you Srila Prabhupada. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Chandajana Vrindavana Dasatachu Padayuge Gana. Accepting Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu is my life and soul. Life and soul. I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. Wow. We are so fortunate. So thus ends the English translation of the Gaudiya Bhasha commentary on Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adhikanda, chapter 11, entitled Meeting with Ishwara Puri. And tomorrow we'll continue with the next chapter, which is after 11. Everybody knows? No, you don't know what number it comes. It's 12. Okay, so now we will stop sharing, and then we will allow you to unmute yourselves. And so you can raise your hand, type in the chat window, unmute yourself. You have so many options. Oh.
Gurudev, take my humble obeisance.
No, Dyaradika, she raised her hand. Okay, Dyaradika, you have a question.
Yes, Hare Krishna Gurudev, please accept my obeisances. So I'm a little bit confused about the Lord, like Gopinath Bhattacharya being an incarnation of Lord Brahma. Is there only one Lord Brahma, or does each universe have their own? And if so, like which Lord Brahma are they talking about?
I would assume it's Lord Brahma in our universe. And the interesting thing is that sometimes you hear that two people are considered an incarnation of one person, or one person is an incarnation of two people. You hear that, being a little more controversial in your question. And the reason is that when we talk about incarnations, not always is the person, but it's empowered by the person. Like you may say that, Prabhupada is manifesting Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Prabhupada is manifesting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is not Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he is an avatar of the Lord, a Shaktavesh avatar. So sometimes you find great personalities, these descriptions are there, they have avatars that are empowered by them. You say, so-and-so is speaking through you. So, yeah, so I imagine it's in reference to the Lord Brahma of this universe. And also, if you remember that particular purport, it actually said it was an incarnation of a particular gopi, too, a gopi. So they both can be correct, because you can be empowered by different persons. Like the spiritual master, hopefully he's manifesting Krishna, he's manifesting Lord Chaitanya, and he's manifesting Srimati Radharani. So these are different understandings. And sometimes he's the actual person, and sometimes he's empowered by the person. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay, let's see if we can get someone before Rakesh sticks his nose into it. So, okay, Rakesh, I guess no one saved me. So anyway, Rakesh, you have a question?
Yes, Gurudev, just a simple question. It's about Prajalpa. A person in Krishna consciousness try to stop Prajalpa. A person knows it, but when he meets his friends, he can't stop doing it. And he feels very guilty while doing it and afterwards. What should a person do?
Don't have any friends. Just have enemies. If you have enemies, you won't be speaking Prajalpa at all. You'll just be angry. So I know sometimes in social dealings, of course, all my friends are devotees. Of course, my best friend is Krishna and Prabhupada. Prabhupada is a friend of the poor, Lord and Master of the devotees. So, but sometimes I have to meet people. And how are you and everything like that, and be a gentleman. That's not exactly Prajalpa. Prajalpa means unnecessary things. So it's sometimes necessary to be a normal human being, especially if you're working, if you're just functioning, circulating in this material world. You can't just be a dumb rock or something like that. So yeah, be practical. Don't worry about it. I think you would tend to err too much on the other side and speak too much Prajalpa. I mean, when was the last time you talked about politics or your Australian politics? I don't know. So you just have to, or whatever you talk about. Talking about some pretty girl somewhere. That's definitely Prajalpa. So basically, just be a regular person and speak about Krishna as much as possible. And sometimes you just have to chill out. And if you're with someone, especially a friend or something, even a devotee, I mean, if you're always just like preaching to them, I mean, that would drive me crazy. Sometimes you gotta, just be a normal person and do normal things, isn't it? I mean, just practical. If you can't be a normal person, no one's going to want to hang out with you or be with you. Of course, you don't have that problem, so I'm not worried about that. So, all right. So, on the other hand, all right. So that's enough, Rakesh, for today. So, who else has a question or a comment? You can type in the text window, chat window, or unmute yourself. If no one has a question or a comment, Rishikesh, okay.
Hare Krishna Gurudev, my obeisance. I just want to know what's the most effective way to serve Srila Prabhupada in following in the footsteps of Ishwara Puri. I mean, what lessons we learn from Ishwara Puri to how to effectively serve the spiritual master when he's not around.
Oh, how to respect the spiritual master when he's not around? Uh, well, we serve the mission of the spiritual master. I mean, we were talking about that in the Sunday feast class, that when the spiritual master passes away, it's like when the wife remains alive after the husband passes away. Instead of jumping into the fire, the wife should actually just be dedicated to serving the husband's mission. Her husband's mission, of course, is the husband's children, the wife's children too. Hopefully, they're from the same wife. So, anyways, nowadays you can't tell. So, anyway, so in the same way, when the spiritual master passes away, we have the spiritual master's mission and his mood, and we follow in that mood and his mission, just like I'm trying to follow in that mood Srila Prabhupada's mission, serving Srila Prabhupada's mission, taking responsibility for Prabhupada's mission, not retiring. Whenever I think of retiring means getting tired again. Retiring. So whenever I think of retiring, I just think of Prabhupada. I don't think about retiring. Just really be boring. What would I do? They have this new game in the United States called pickleball. Doesn't mean you take pickles and you hit them, but it's a cheap person's way of playing tennis. Someone who can't get it together to play tennis. Of course, one day I'll probably play with Gopal. I don't know if Gopal's listening right now. I was going to challenge him to a game of pickleball. So anyway, no,
Thank
he's
you,
not.
Gurudev.
So instead of retiring, we actually just think, what would my spiritual master want me to do? So if I ever think of retiring, goodbye cruel world, go to Govardhan, just chant, and then I just hear Prabhupada say to me, you rascal, this is what you should do. So I know what Prabhupada would want me to do. I mean, not down to the detail, but to the general purpose of my life. Okay?
Yes, thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you. Okay, time to end. Thank you all very much. We'll hear you all tomorrow or see you all tomorrow. And tomorrow, after tomorrow, I'm going to India. So we'll probably try to. No, I won't be able to continue at this time when I'm in India. Sumuk, you have a quick question?
Yes, yes, Gurudev. I have one small question. I have one of my devotee friends said that when you are not initiated, then inside the Chaitya Guru actually guides you, your spiritual life. But after initiation, then the Chaitya Guru inside the heart doesn't work anymore. And the spiritual that one, the
That's a
spiritual
bunch of
master.
nonsense. That doesn't work. He just goes to sleep. No, he still guides you. Probably guides you more when you take initiation. Just like, I mean, the whole idea is like the Chaitya Guru is working hard to guide you, thinking, oh, I got to guide Sumuk. And then when you take initiation, then he's thinking, thank God I can go on vacation now and not spend all this time guiding the rascal anymore. Let someone else do this thankless task. No, it's completely untrue. Because Chaitya Guru is guiding people before they're initiated, after they're initiated, ever and ever, forever and ever. And when one goes back to the spiritual world, of course, then there's no Chaitya Guru. There's Krishna directly. Okay, on that happy note, let's end. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.